Okay, so let's talk about what the process is when you sell a house, and we can sort of compare the process of selling a house that you're listing with an agent for sale with selling it to an investor, right? And again, most people, 9 out of 10, are going to sell their house with an agent listed for sale on the MLS, and that's fine. Let's go through that process. So you're going to sign an agreement with an agent, and believe me, you can negotiate everything on that agreement. If the agent ever tells you, "Oh, my broker won't allow it," or this kind of crap, go with a different agent. Okay, you can sign an agreement for as short a period of time as you want, and you can pay as little as you want. Um, I'm not trying to sell my agency, but we take 2 month listings and we charge as little as 2% sometimes. So everything's negotiable. You sign an agreement. Um, Agent should take pictures, put the listing up, and he's going to start to show it. The average amount of showings most people have are between 7 and 15. Usually there'll be an open house on a weekend for a couple of days. Then there'll be other showings. People will come, they'll see it. People will start submitting offers if the market's good and your house is priced right. And then you're going to choose one of those offers. So after showing the house, let's say on average, like I said, somewhere 10, 12 times, you're going to choose an offer. After the offer is accepted, and even in the hottest market, that process between showing it and choosing an offer is probably going to take a minimum of a couple of weeks, sometimes a couple of months. Then that buyer is probably going to want to do an inspection. So they're going to bring an inspector to the property. They're going to give them a huge list of things that could go wrong. Right? The inspector doesn't know. He's not really checking out the walls. And then sometimes they're going to come back and ask you for a price reduction, or they're going to ask you to make repairs, one or the other. There are unscrupulous attorneys and realtors who I say this because it's happened to me, where they'll offer you a really good price, like above asking, which is common today. Maybe they'll give you $20,000 above asking, and then ask you for a $20,000 reduction. So I can't prove that this happens, but I'm pretty sure that some of these jerkies tell their client, if you really want the house, offer $20,000 more than asking, and then I'll get you that money back after the inspection. Because this happened to me, and it sucks because you turned down an offer maybe that was close to it, who may have found another property. So, assuming you come to an agreement with the buyer, then you need to go have your attorney prepare a contract and send it to the buyer. So that everything I just told you should take between 2 and 4 weeks. Best case, between 2 and 4 months. Worst case, if you priced it too high, or you couldn't find a buyer. Then the process starts to get the property under contract, which can take as long as your attorney and the buyer's attorney wanted to take, assuming there's no crazy amount of disagreements. And then the buyer is going to go get a mortgage. The average buyer today is going to take between 2 and 3 months to get a mortgage. So I tell people if they want to list a property for sale, they got to list it 4 months before they really want to close. I'd say that gives them enough room to get it done. It takes about 4 months, about a month to get into contract, 2 to 3 months to get a loan, get a mortgage. After contract signed, they're then going to order an appraisal. An appraiser is going to come to the house, do an appraisal. Hopefully the house appraises for the value that you're in contract on. If not, things get complicated. And then they go get a mortgage. So the real issue with selling in the traditional way, and again, this happens about 90% of the time, is that a standard contract has a mortgage contingency. Now, I was in the mortgage business for a lot of years, and I can tell you that a mortgage contingency is a get out of contract free card. You can use it easily. It's very easy to deny somebody for a mortgage. I denied dozens of people for mortgages just because they called me and told me they changed their mind. You can really deny a person for anything. Documents expire all the time. A pay stub, a bank statement, you just deny them for that. It's very easy. And then once someone's denied, you start from scratch. So again, most people who are looking to buy a house are not looking to get out of the contract. All I'm saying is that there is a lack of certainty if there's a mortgage contingency, and most people get a mortgage contingency. So that's the process. I would say it takes about 4 months, assuming the guy doesn't walk away after 4 months, which does happen. And it's happened to me when I sell properties. So how does that contrast with selling to an investor? So when you sell to an investor, and let's be clear, you're almost always going to take less money when you sell to an investor, but you are trading that money for the certainty and convenience that an investor provides. Because when you sell to an investor's going to come by, take a look, going to make you an offer, you're going to negotiate. That whole process will take a week. And then if you choose to accept it, your attorney is going to draw up the contract, send it to the investor or buyer's attorney, and there are no contingencies, right? So every time I buy a property, I have a no way out. I have to close, and the seller always gets the amount of money that we discussed, unless there's a title problem. Occasionally, there's a title problem. Um, but that's something you're going to have in any situation. I don't even bring that up on a standard situation, but that's the only way that I'm not closing on a property. If you can't convey title, it's some kind of issue. Um, and then with an investor, in my case, I'll close as soon as you want or as long as you want. So I'll close in a couple of weeks, just as long as it takes to get my title report in. Or if you want more time, I'll give you more time. So I close in your time frame. I may bring contractors in at some point for an hour just to look at it because I want construction to start when we close. I may even bring potential buyers in there also because they may give me some guidance as to what work to do. But we're talking about usually once, maybe twice, and that's it. And I work it with, on your schedule. And then that's it. And then you close. Again, you're usually going to give up some money when you sell to an investor, but you're giving up that money for the certainty and convenience that I or any other investor provides. I'm going to close whenever it works for you. I'm going to give you the number is the number. It's not going to change. So it's not going to change when I do an inspection. It's not going to change when I do an appraisal. Also, if you have standard buyers getting an FHA appraisal, they're going to ask you very often to add smoke detectors, add railings on any steps that don't have railings. There are a bunch of things that an FHA appraiser can ask you to do that someone has to do before the deal closes. So that's not going to happen if you sell to an investor, obviously. And sometimes I or other investors are actually going to borrow money, right? But if I can't borrow money, I still have to close. So this concept of a cash buyer doesn't always mean I'm going to bring cash. I can show you proof of funds that I have the cash, but I may choose not to use that cash. All it means is that I don't have a mortgage contingency, and that is a huge difference, as I said before, because a mortgage contingency really is, as I said, a get out of contract free card, and I don't have that card. So it's a done deal. It's going to happen at your price, and there's not going to be any surprises, right? In a standard transaction, there are very often surprises. It just happened to me. I had a deal that was in contract for over 3 months. Guy got denied from his mortgage, and we have to start again. It happens, right? It happens a lot, more than you think. It doesn't happen all the time, and I'm not going to say every person is going to use that. Most people want to buy a house when they go into contract on it, but it is a possibility. So the process is going to be either quicker or longer. Now, sometimes people come to me and sell me houses because they don't want to be on a buyer's timeline. They may need more time to find a place to go, and that's fine. I'll wait. I have a situation now. I'm in contract 9 months. I'll wait as long as I need to. So I'm not going to push you out. I'm not going to drive you crazy. The job of an investor is to make the process certain and as convenient for you as possible. That's my job, and I know that I am going to buy the property at somewhat of a discount because of that. So that's the basics of the process. It's easier. There's real certainty on it when an investor goes to contract with you, and it's more convenient. It's usually going to be for a little less money, so you have to compare whether it's worth it, right? If the certainty and convenience that an investor provides is not worth the difference in price that you're going to get if you sold it, that you think you're going to get if you sold it, listing it, then don't do it. Don't sell it to an investor. People think that somehow an investor takes advantage of people, that we prey on widows and orphans, but it's a voluntary transaction, and everybody pretty much understands. You're going to sell it to me or another investor for a little less, but there are advantages to doing it, and if those advantages aren't worth it, if you then don't sell it to me or any other investor, right? And I have told hundreds of people that I've gone into their house, listen, because just to explain, I do two things, right? I buy properties, fix them up, and sell them, but I also am a traditional realtor. So I very often have gone into a house and said, listen, you could sell it to me, but you're going to leave a huge chunk of money on the table. Why don't you just let me list it for you, and I can get you the number that you want? And I've done that. I have 3 or 4 transactions going on like that right now. So I'm trying to do what's in your best interest, right? Not everybody is probably as considerate of a seller's situation as I am, but I'm looking to do what's ever in your best interest. So that's how the process goes. Again, I can close in 2 or 3 weeks. It's quickest, and I can wait as long as you need if you just want to know that property is going to sell for the price that we agreed on. So I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions about selling the house, anything you can call my office directly at 516-209-2010. I'm here to help. I never pressure anyone. I'm not a salesy guy. And if you have any questions about anything I've discussed or anything you have about selling a property, I'm happy to help you. Again, 516-209-2010. 516-209-2010 is my office number.